So last year I had a chance to test ride a 2022 Harley Davidson Fatboy, and it was one of my favorite bikes that I test rode that year. I can't quite put my finger on the exact reason, but truth be told, I thought I was going to hate it. I didn't like the chrome, the silhouette was too bulky for my taste, and I didn't like the look of the low handlebars. But I gave it a shot just to see what it was all about. And I immediately fell in love with the Fatboy. I liked it so much that it lingered in my mind for weeks, if not months. Well, I'm really excited to give the Fatboy another test ride to see if it was just my imagination or did I really enjoy the Fatboy that much. So here we are, test riding the Fatboy again in 2023. The Fatboy in 2023 remains largely unchanged from the previous year. Slap on some new paint and a cruise control module, and that's what we have going on for 2023. If you want the heirloom red fade, that'll tack on an additional $1,500 to the base $20K on SRP.
First, I want to talk about the ergonomics, and the ergonomics is pretty much the same as it is last year. I love these low bend bars. It's got a nice pullback to it. So my arms, even though I'm coming in at 5'8" and I'm relatively short, they're incredibly comfortable. I'm not leaning forward by any means. I just feel like I have a really natural seating position on this bike. The seat, it's hard to gauge a seat in a demo ride, but it is really nice and comfortable. It's nice and wide, so it kind of cups your butt really nicely. And what I also love are these floorboards. I feel like my legs are just in a really natural seating position. Woo!
The Fatboy looks very menacing and aggressive and can be a little intimidating for new riders, but looks can be very deceiving. The Fatboy is extremely inviting in terms of the ergonomics. With its low seat height and floorboards, you really feel like you're just lounging at home on your couch. Add a set of really nice low beach cruiser bars, and you're set to cruise for hours in pure comfortable bliss. I really do feel like they had shorter riders in mind with the design of the Fatboy because this bike really fit me like a glove. I've been told a few times on the test ride that the Fatboy looked really good on me. I don't know what that means, but I think it means that I look really natural and comfortable, which is really the truth.
So I remember last year test riding this bike before I got on it. I was really intimidated just because, look at this thing. It's large and in charge. It's got a very muscular bulldog type of stance to it. It's got a big 5-gallon tank. It's a muscular cruiser, right? But I would say this is by far one of the most friendly bikes that I've test ridden in terms of all the softails.
Let's talk about the looks for a second. In a sea of black Harleys, the Fatboy truly does stand out. Harley went all out with the chrome appointments with the Fatboy, even encasing the headlight in chrome shroud, which really makes it look unique and menacing. It goes nicely with the Lakestar disc wheels and reminds me of a bygone era of classic cars. Some might say it's too much chrome, and I might agree with you. I don't really care for chrome, but for some reason on a bike like the Fatboy, it just seems to work. Maybe it's because it reminds me of a classic Ford Mustang, but I really like the looks of the Fatboy.
In terms of the aesthetics, at first, the Fatboy is not really my type of thing, but it's growing on me, right? When I look at it, it just kind of reminds me of a bulldog, just muscular, sits low, sits in charge. The chrome, again, typically not my thing, but on the Fatboy, it just works. It's got a mixture of that classic look with a few touches of, new style. The matching of the chrome and the headlight bezel, I think they really did a good job on the Fatboy.
The Fatboy comes with the Milwaukee M8 114, which boasts 120 foot-pounds of torque and about 100 horsepower, so it has more than enough power to scooch around town and more than enough power for any long-distance rides on the highway. While the Fatboy comes in at 671 pounds, you'll never really feel that weight. The center of gravity is extremely low on the Fatboy, which makes it really easy to maneuver, and the suspension on the Fatboy makes it feel like you're gliding on the roads. While you're most likely not going to be drag racing on the Fatboy, it has more than enough power to have fun on spirited rides.
a really peppy bike. You wouldn't think otherwise because it's just so bulky and it's just so muscular looking, but it does have that grunt. It does have enough power. So let's talk about the power. Now this is a Milwaukee 8. It's the same engine in most of the new Harleys, so not too different, but on a 700-pound frame, it's just great. It's nice and peppy. It's not too powerful. On this frame, I think the M8 really works. You know, it's got a nice pep. It's got a nice linear power, which I like. Not a whole lot of effort keeping this bike up. Very stable and very, very comfortable. All right, so last year I remember saying that the curves are difficult to negotiate on a Fatboy, and it's still true. When I read through the comments, ooh, look at that. When I read through the comments, people did mention that you just have to kind of get used to it. Like most things in life, you just get used to it. And I'm finding that to be true. Really glad that I took out the Fatboy again the second time around, because knowing what to expect with the difficulty in leans, I'm having an easier time negotiating these turns, just because I'm compensating a little bit more. Not to say that this bike will be amazing the twisties by any means, but it might not have been as bad as I had originally said in my first video. So I'm walking this back where, yes, the Fatboy is still not, you know, insanely great on the twisties, but it is manageable. It is manageable. Now this is what I remembered about the Fatboy. The twisties are a little bit more difficult on the Fatboy. I think the Fatboy really excels in straight lines. The Fatboy just wants to stand you right back up straight. But having known that now, I think I'm more equipped to deal with it, going through those bumps. But really the strength of the Fatboy to me is just insane comfort. I would say this is the most comfortable softail that I've test ridden, right? From the Lowrider S, ST, Street Bob. That opinion might change because I'm going to test out a lot of different softails today, but I'm still holding on to that. My arms are at a really nice bend, so extremely, extremely comfortable. Going over these bumps, not a big deal at all. Man, I still can't find neutral on this thing. Is this just the Fatboy thing, or is it me? Like, where is neutral? Come on. Guys, let me know in the comments. Is this typical of Fatboys? How difficult it is to find neutral? This is giving me some stress here. Alright, I'll just hold the clutch. So I love that most of the softail models now come with this cruise control right here. What a welcome addition. I wish I had that on my Lowrider S. Other than that, you know, for the most part, this is all the same. You got new colors, obviously, for this year. But I think for the most part, everything remains the same.
Everything about the Fatboy is about comfort, even down to the ride. The fat tires make it extremely stable on the straight roads, and it almost balances itself. Coupled with the high-performance front suspension and the mono rear shock, it feels like you're gliding on a smooth, freshly paved surface. The overall comfort was really the selling point for me on the Fatboy, coupled with its classic retro design. Throw some bags, and you can really take the Fatboy on some nice, long trips across the country.
So this is a bike that had just had me thinking, and not that I would trade my Lowrider S for this, but if I had to have a third Harley, I think this could be a really solid contender. This would be just like a great all-around bike, very comfortable in the city, and this bike is surprisingly nimble, considering how just large and bulky and muscular this bike looks. If you've never test ridden a Fatboy before, do me a favor and test one out and let me know how you like it. I guarantee you that you'll like it. I was just talking to one of these guys, and they said the same thing. They've never met anybody that didn't like a Fatboy, whether they were tall, short, big, skinny. Everyone seems to just enjoy the Fatboy. And I think that's the premise, right? Like, this is just a laid-back cruiser. This is just a laid-back cruiser that anybody can enjoy. I'm glad I got to test ride the Fatboy again, because I was wondering whether or not, you know, did I get the original test ride wrong? Like, was I just a little trigger happy? But safe to say, I am still liking this Fatboy. I'm 5'8" and I can get both feet firmly planted on the ground. You got these large floorboards, really nice and comfortable. All right, well, there you have it, guys. 2023 Fatboy. Thanks for tuning into this video, and until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.